Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about why you might not be manifesting money and, more importantly, how you can finally fix it. In this video, I'm sharing the 7 hidden reasons that silently block your financial energy and the practical steps I use to unlock my own money flow. I'm not here to give you vague theory or generic positive thinking. I'm sharing what actually worked for me, the real mindset shifts, the energetic corrections, and the daily adjustments that finally open the doors for unexpected income, new opportunities, and a level of ease I had never experienced before. And if you want to dive deeper into the science behind manifestation, especially how your mind and energy shape your reality, I highly recommend Dr. Joe Dispenza's books. I'll leave the links in the first pinned comment so you can find them easily if you want to explore more. Reason 1. Your nervous system is stuck in survival mode. Most people think they're struggling to manifest money because of mindset, but the real block usually begins much deeper, inside the nervous system. And this is something I had to learn the hard way. When your brain is constantly scanning for danger, bills, debts, responsibilities, pressure, your energy stops expanding. It contracts, it protects, it hides. And instead of letting opportunities flow toward you, your mind is too busy trying to survive today to even imagine creating something new tomorrow. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed that the times you're most stressed are also the times when money seems to get stuck? When unexpected expenses appear out of nowhere? When it feels like everything is slipping through your fingers at once? That's not bad luck. That's survival mode shutting down your creative energy. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully. You can't create a new reality from the same elevated emotions you use to fight a threat. Fear, urgency, shame, lack, all of these emotions signal the brain to close, not open, to protect, not receive, to freeze, not innovate. And prosperity requires the opposite: openness, possibility, expansion, imagination. When I realized my nervous system was operating like someone being chased, it finally made sense why manifesting money felt like trying to fill a bucket full of holes. I wasn't broken. I wasn't bad at manifesting. I was simply trying to attract abundance from a state of contraction. And here's the part most videos never tell you. You can't think positive your way out of survival mode. You can't repeat affirmations to override a dysregulated nervous system. You can't visualize wealth if your body is still living in fear. You have to teach your body that it's safe to receive again. Solution: the safety reset, 5 minutes daily. This is a practice inspired by neuropsychology and directly aligned with Dr. Dispenza's teachings about breaking emotional addiction to stress. Here's how it works. Step 1. Sit still and breathe into your lower belly, not the chest, the belly. This tells your parasympathetic system that the threat is gone. Inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6. The longer exhale signals, I am safe now. Step 2. Identify the money fear in your body, not in your mind. Where do you feel it? Chest? Throat? Stomach? Money blocks aren't thoughts. They're contractions. Step 3. Feel the sensation without running from it. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that emotion is the chemical residue of the past. When you sit with the sensation instead of reacting, you begin to break the emotional addiction to stress. Step 4. Shift to an elevated emotion for 60 seconds. Not abundance, not gratitude, not wealth. Those can feel too far away at first. Instead, focus on relief, calm, neutrality, softness. When I discovered this, everything changed. I used to try to jump from financial anxiety to I'm a money magnet, but my body didn't believe that. It rejected it immediately. Starting with neutrality was the first time my inner reality actually began to shift. Step 5. Now say this out loud. I am safe to receive. It sounds simple, but the nervous system responds to safety signals faster than any positive affirmation in the world. Why this works. When you calm the body, your brain stops producing the chemical signature of stress. And as Dispenza says, when you change your energy, you change your life. If your body stops preparing for the worst, your mind becomes capable of imagining something better. And only then does the creative, abundant, intuitive part of your brain finally turn back on. And this is just the first block. When your nervous system shifts out of survival, your entire financial identity begins to transform from the inside out. Reason 2. You're still operating from survival mode. You're trying to manifest abundance while your body is still trapped in survival mode. And abundance cannot exist where the nervous system believes you're in danger. This was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn because for years I believed my problem was mindset, but it wasn't. It was biology. It was the emotional state I lived in. It was the constant alertness, the pressure, the anxiety, the mental rehearsing of the worst-case scenario. I was trying to create a wealthy future while my body was chemically addicted to fear, and that never works. Why survival mode blocks manifestation. Joe Dispenza explains this perfectly. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you live in chronic stress, meaning fear, worry, pressure, guilt, overwhelm, your body is literally living in the past. It keeps firing the same emotional signatures over and over because that's what it knows. And when your body is living in the past, you unconsciously recreate the past. You can visualize abundance, repeat affirmations, write journals, create vision boards, whatever you want. But if your internal chemistry is the chemistry of fear, your energy will always reflect lack. Your thoughts may say, I want money, but your body says, I'm not safe. And the body always wins. How to know if you're actually living in survival mode. Here's what I realized when I finally got honest with myself. See if this sounds familiar. Every time you think about money, your stomach tightens. You check your bank account with dread instead of neutrality. You try to manifest, but you feel impatient or frustrated. You visualize abundance, but your body feels tense. You wake up already thinking of what could go wrong. You feel like money is a battle, not a flow. If any of this resonates, it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means your body is emotionally trained to expect danger. And no amount of manifestation techniques can override a nervous system that believes it's under threat. This was my reality for years. The practical solution and what finally changed everything. This is the part I want to share with you carefully because it's not theory, it's what I actually did every single day to get out of survival mode and into the state where money finally started flowing. Step 1. Regulate your body before you try to manifest. This step alone changed everything for me. I used to wake up stressed, think about bills, feel pressure, and then immediately go into manifestation practices. Of course, nothing shifted because energetically, I was planting seeds in dry, hard soil. So I changed it. Before any visualization, before any intentions, before anything else, I stopped and regulated my body. For 2 minutes, I would breathe slowly and deeply, relax my shoulders, jaw, and chest, imagine my body softening, interrupt the cycle of stress. Within those few minutes, I could feel my chemistry change. Dr. Joe calls this returning to coherence, a state where your body and mind are aligned, synchronized, open. Manifestation does not happen from chaos. Manifestation happens from coherence. Step 2. Teach your body to feel the future before it happens. This is exactly what Joe Dispenza means when he says, your body must emotionally experience the future before it becomes physical reality. So, after calming my body, I would ask myself, if I already had the financial freedom I want, how would my body feel right now? Not how I would think, but how I would feel. So I trained my body to feel relief, safety, confidence, ease, expansion, gratitude. I'm supported. And here's the key. Your body doesn't know the difference between a lived feeling and an imagined feeling. It just memorizes emotions. So the more I repeated these feelings, the more my body stopped expecting scarcity and started expecting abundance. This is how you move from survival to creation. Step 3. Act like someone who is no longer in scarcity. This step is extremely practical, and it shocked me how much impact it had. I didn't start spending recklessly. I didn't start pretending I had money I didn't have. I simply stopped acting like I was one step away from disaster. So I changed micro habits like checking my bank account every day, speaking about money with negative emotion, repeating stories of lack, anticipating problems, and making decisions based on fear instead of logic. Instead, I acted from the emotional place I was training my body to feel. When your behavior reflects trust, your energy becomes trust, and trust is the opposite of survival. What happened when I finally left survival mode? After a few weeks of practicing this, I noticed more creative ideas, clearer opportunities, less impulsive decisions, better financial choices, unexpected income, support coming from places I didn't expect, and a sense of empowerment I had never felt before. And the biggest shift, I stopped needing money. I became available to receive it. This is the turning point. This is where manifestation stops being frustrating and starts becoming natural. Reasons 3 and 4. The reality filters you don't notice. Scarcity identity and emotional inconsistency. We're moving into 2 of the most hidden and most powerful reasons why people struggle to manifest money, even when they're doing everything right. I'm talking about reason number 3. You're still carrying a scarcity identity. And reason number 4, your emotional state contradicts your intention. These 2 reasons often operate underneath the surface. You don't see them directly, but they quietly shape everything you expect, notice, attract, and act on. Let's go deep. Reason 3. You're still carrying a scarcity identity. Most people don't realize that before you manifest money, you must manifest a new version of yourself. Not a new mindset, an identity. One of the biggest lessons I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza is this: your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So when I was struggling financially, I kept trying to change my thoughts, but my identity was still, I'm someone who has to struggle. I'm someone who always finds a way at the last minute. I'm someone who gets just enough. I'm someone who doesn't know how to make real money. These weren't affirmations. These were emotional truths I had lived for years. And that's the problem. The identity you've emotionally memorized is stronger than anything you try to think. You can repeat, I am rich 200 times a day, but if your identity is still, I'm the person who always barely survives, your nervous system will continue creating situations that match who you believe you are. Money doesn't flow to an identity that expects lack. This was my turning point. I had to retire the version of me who only knew struggle. And I want you to ask yourself something honestly. Who do you believe yourself to be when it comes to money? And is that identity compatible with the financial life you want? If the answer is no, here's the practical part. How I shifted my financial identity, this works. I didn't start by telling myself unrealistic affirmations. I started by changing the emotional tone of how I saw myself. Every morning before doing anything else, I would close my eyes and ask, who is the version of me that already lives in abundance? Not what does she have, but how does she feel about herself? And the answers were always things like calm, capable, worthy, grounded, trusting, confident, secure. I practiced feeling like her a little more each day, not thinking, feeling. And slowly, my identity shifted out of scarcity and into self-worth. When that happened, money started flowing in ways that felt natural, not forced. Abundance is not a goal. It's an identity you grow into. Reason 4, your emotional state contradicts your intention. This one is subtle, but extremely powerful. Most people intend one thing, but their emotional state broadcasts the opposite signal. You say, I want to attract money, but emotionally you feel fear, worry, pressure, impatience, urgency, insecurity. Energetically, the message becomes, I want more money because I feel unsafe. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your emotional signature. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully. You can't create a new future with the emotions of the past. If your body is still emotionally rehearsing fear, stress, or lack, you're actually manifesting from the same energy that created your old life. This is why so many people say, I'm visualizing abundance, but nothing's happening. Because intention is only half the formula. Emotion is the other half. And if your intention and emotion don't match, this signal is incoherent. I had to learn this the hard way. A real moment I'll never forget. There was a day when I was doing a money manifestation meditation. I was visualizing everything perfectly. The numbers, the lifestyle, the feeling of freedom. But inside, my chest was tight. My breathing was shallow. I felt fear. Fear of failing, fear of repeating my past, fear of what if this doesn't work for me? So my visualization wasn't sending out abundance, it was broadcasting fear. That day, I realized something huge. Manifestation isn't about what you want, it's about what you feel. Once I understood that, everything shifted. The practical fix, emotional alignment in the moment. This is something I want you to try because it changed everything for me. Before any visualization, intention setting, journaling, or manifestation ritual, ask, is my emotion aligned with the reality I'm trying to create? If the answer is no, stop. Don't push through it. Take 60 seconds to shift the emotional state first. I would do things like breathe deeply, put a hand on my heart, visualize safety instead of wealth. Imagine everything softening. Repeat to myself, it's safe for me to receive. Recall one moment in life where I felt supported. Once I felt calm, open, trusting, then I would visualize the financial reality I wanted. Because now emotion and intention were finally aligned. And when they aligned, manifestation started happening faster, cleaner, and with less resistance than ever before.
Reasons 5 and 6. Hidden emotional resistance and confusion about the path. Let's move into the next 2 reasons people unconsciously block financial manifestation. Reason 5, emotional resistance to receiving. And reason 6, confusion about the path, waiting for money to come in a specific form. These 2 are some of the deepest roots of money stagnation because they operate at a subconscious level most people never examine. Reason 5. Emotional resistance to receiving. You want money, but you don't feel safe having it. This one is rarely talked about, but it's more common than people admit. A lot of people want money consciously, but subconsciously they feel unsafe having more, guilty having more, unworthy of having more. Afraid of how others will react? Afraid of losing it once they have it? Afraid of responsibility? Afraid of becoming someone they don't recognize? This creates subconscious resistance, a push-pull dynamic where part of you wants abundance, but another part of you is terrified of what abundance might bring. That fear blocks manifestation more than lack of belief. And here's the interesting part. Most of this resistance doesn't come from adulthood. It comes from emotional memories stored in the body since childhood. For example, maybe you heard growing up, money changes people. Rich people are arrogant. You have to suffer to deserve things. Don't ask for too much. Be grateful with what you have. Money comes with problems. These messages might not sound dramatic, but when they're repeated during your formative years, your nervous system absorbs them as emotional truth. Then as an adult, whenever you start moving toward more money, your body quietly whispers, more money equals danger. Retreat. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains that the body becomes the mind of the past. So even if your mind says, I want abundance, your body still expects the emotional reality you lived for years: fear, limitation, shrinking, staying small. That's why emotional resistance must be dissolved before abundance can flow consistently. The practical solution? This is powerful. Here is what I personally did when I discovered I had resistance around receiving money. I sat with a journal and wrote one prompt. Why would having more money feel unsafe to me? At first, I wrote logical answers, but then the truth came out. Emotional answers. Things I didn't even know were inside me. I am afraid I won't know how to handle it. I don't want people thinking I changed. I'm scared they'll ask me for things. I don't want to be judged. I'm scared of failing after I succeed. Naming these fears dissolved half their power. And the second step is the most important. Teach the body that receiving is safe. This is what Joe Dispenza emphasizes constantly. You must create a new emotional experience that overwrites the old one. Every day for a few minutes, I would imagine myself receiving money, but not in a grand way, in a calm, grounded, safe way. I would imagine ease, peace, comfort, slowness, warmth, security, stability. Not fireworks, not lottery excitement, just safety. My body began associating money with calm instead of fear, and that changed everything.
Reason 6. Confusion about the path. You're attached to how money must arrive. This one is a manifestation killer. You set an intention, you visualize, you repeat affirmations, but deep down, you're waiting for money to arrive through one specific path. It has to come from my business. It has to come from YouTube. It has to be a raise. It has to be this client. It has to be this launch. It has to be this investment. And when the mind gets attached to the how, it becomes blind to the everything else. Dr. Joe Dispenza says that when you're creating a new future, you must become no one, going nowhere, doing nothing. Meaning, you must surrender the specifics so your field becomes open to possibilities you cannot predict. When you rigidly control how money must come, you collapse the field of possibilities. You shrink abundance to one door instead of letting it come through the thousands of doors that naturally exist. I learned this when I had my own breakthrough. There was a time when I believed money could only come from one project I was working on. I obsessed over it. I tried to force it. And guess what? It stayed stuck. Then, when I finally released the attachment to that one path, money started flowing from completely different directions. Unexpected payments, refunds, online opportunities, people recommending me for things I hadn't even looked for, ideas coming out of nowhere. Once I stopped trying to control the how, I became available for the miracle. The practical fix: widen the frequency, open the field. Here's a practice that changed my relationship with abundance. Every morning, I would say, money can come from expected and unexpected places. I am open to all paths. Not as a mantra, but as a feeling. Then I would visualize not a specific scenario, but a field opening, like a horizon expanding in all directions. What this did was create emotional flexibility, a state where you're not contracting around one outcome. When you're open, the universe has room to move. When you're rigid, you block everything except the one thing you're obsessing about. Attachment is not clarity. It's fear disguised as control. Releasing attachment is not about giving up. It's about letting abundance choose the fastest route to reach you.
Reason 7 is the most uncomfortable one, but also the most liberating once you understand it. You're not manifesting money because you're still acting from the identity of the person who doesn't have it. Before you roll your eyes, let me explain. Every manifestation teacher talks about identity, but most people misunderstand what it actually means. Your identity isn't just who you think you are. It's who your nervous system believes you are. It's the emotional baseline you return to even when you try to change. You can consciously say, I want to be wealthy. I want more money. I want financial freedom. But if your subconscious identity is still rooted in, I'm someone who always struggles financially, money is unstable, I'm not good with money, I never get ahead, people like me don't become wealthy, money is dangerous, wealthy people lose everything eventually. If any of that held sway, no affirmation, no vision board, no technique will override that internal truth. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this perfectly. You can't create a new future with the emotions of your past. And identity is just a collection of emotional memories, the past running your present. I learned this the hard way. There was a period in my life when I was doing everything right spiritually and energetically. I meditated, I visualized, I repeated affirmations, I journaled, I acted as if. But no matter how much I tried, my financial reality wouldn't change. And at first, I blamed my techniques. Then I blamed my timing. Then I blamed the universe. But one day during a meditation, something became painfully clear. I was still identifying as the version of myself who always had to recover, rebuild, or fix her financial life. It wasn't conscious, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't obvious. It was subtle, the kind of identity you don't see until you stop and listen. Deep down, I believed I had to struggle before receiving. I believed money had to come with effort. I believed abundance wasn't for people like me. I believed opportunities weren't supposed to be easy. That identity kept recreating the same patterns, even when I tried to manifest something new. Because here's the truth. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what matches who you are being. When your identity is still tuned to scarcity, you keep experiencing scarcity, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're neurologically rehearsing the same emotional reality every single day. Your brain loves familiarity more than it loves success. And until you break that cycle, nothing changes. The practical fix: rehearse the identity of your future self until it becomes familiar. This is one of the most powerful things I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. If your old identity is the problem, the solution isn't forcing more affirmations. It's rehearsing the emotional state of the version of you who already has what you're trying to manifest. Not the fantasy, not the future, not the one day, but the emotional imprint of a financially empowered version of you. Here's what changed everything for me. Every morning, before touching my phone, before checking notifications, before letting the world tell me who I was,
I would sit with myself and ask, if I were already financially abundant, how would I feel today? Not what would I do, but what would I feel in my body? Then I would breathe into that feeling, expand it, amplify it, hold it long enough for my nervous system to register it as real. Some days it lasted 30 seconds, some days it lasted 10 minutes, but slowly something started shifting. My mind wasn't trying to get somewhere. I wasn't begging the universe. I wasn't waiting for proof. I was becoming familiar with abundance, emotionally, physically, energetically. And once it became familiar, something beautiful happened. My old identity stopped running the show. I no longer reacted from fear. I no longer panicked about money. I no longer made decisions from scarcity. I stopped expecting things to go wrong, and I stopped attracting situations that mirrored the old me. Instead, opportunities began showing up. Unexpected incomes started appearing. Ideas flowed more easily. Money felt lighter. My actions became aligned instead of forced. Because once your identity shifts, your reality has no choice but to follow. Here's the simplest way to start. Close your eyes and ask, who am I when I no longer fear money? And let that version of you breathe. Let her take up space. Let her lead. Identity is not changed through logic. It's changed through repetition, through emotional consistency, through practicing who you want to be long before the evidence arrives. This is the heart of manifestation. Not thinking, not hoping, not wishing, becoming. When you become the person who receives money with ease, money starts finding you with ease. Your identity is the signal. Abundance is just the response. If this video helped you understand why money hasn't been flowing the way you want and how to finally shift that, let me know in the comments. Tell me which reason hit you the hardest and which one you'll start working on today. Your awareness is already your breakthrough. And if you want to dive deeper into the science behind changing your identity, shifting your energy, and creating a new financial reality, I'm leaving the books by Dr. Joe Dispenza that personally transformed my life in the first pinned comment. They are honestly the best resources for anyone who's ready to rewire their mind and open the door to abundance.